And once again, congratulations.
On sacred ground, every step is a living sound. Voices rise in the open air, freedom flowing everywhere. Feel the pulse in the earth below. Every beat makes the spirit grow. Lift me higher, hear the call. No more shadows, none at all. In this moment we belong. In the rhythm we are strong. One more. An ember light, laughter echoes through the night. Stories written in the breeze, carry softly through the trees. Hands together, side by side. No more fear, no need to hide. In this circle we are one, dancing till the rising sun. Hear the voices, feel the fame. Every heartbeat speaks your name. No more silence, break the chain. Turn your joy into a flame. One more time. Hear the drums, they testify. We are stars beneath one sky. Don't let go. Feel the magic. Let it flow. One more time. Heart to the light. In this dance, your light will shine. Feel the glow. Wambosa, yeah, Wambosa, yo. Let the rhythm take control. Golden sun on my skin tonight. Drums are calling, hearts ignite. Barefoot dancing on sacred ground. Every step is a living sound. Voices rising boss, see a killer, one boss, he a Ziza. Deep inside, let the rhythm be your guide. Oh, we rise, we shine, bound by love, beyond all time. Hear the drums, they testify. We are stars beneath one sky. Don't let go. Feel the magic, let it flow. Hearts alight, in this dance, your light will shine.
Support the preservation of a vital cultural tradition. Vodou faces erasure and misrepresentation in today's world. Your support ensures Vodou's future and cultural integrity. Help preserve this vital culture today. Support the preservation of a vital cultural tradition. Vodou faces erasure and misrepresentation in today's world. Your support ensures Vodou's future and cultural integrity. Help preserve this vital culture today.
Honor and respect, honor and respect, honor and respect. Divine all blessed greetings and salutations. Here's another edition of Revolutionary Voodoo, New Orleans Voodoo Secret Recipes. Voodoo 101. Powered, produced, promoted, sponsored, and supported by NOIVD, New Orleans International Vodou Day. New Orleans International Vodou Day exists to restore rightful dignity, authority, and global recognition to the Voodoo family of traditions. Our mission, purpose, and the motive behind New Orleans International Vodou Day, NOIVD, forms a single coherent vision to protect, unify, and elevate Vodou and Voodoo's living world traditions with deep ancestral, cultural, and diplomatic ties. Our mission frames NOIVD not as a festival, but as an event to reestablish the present dominance of Black around the world. Our purpose unfolds on several dimensions. IVD exists to protect the traditions from harm. IVD confronts misrepresentation in the media, exploitation by uninitiated practitioners, cultural theft and commodification, historical trauma, and colonial narrative. By establishing standards of authenticity, IVD becomes a shield for the traditions and the community forward. IVD serves as a platform for public teaching, ceremonial demonstration, scholarly dialogue, youth and community education, and this ensures that what the world learns about voodoo comes from real practitioners, not stereotypes or outsiders. We continue to strengthen international cultural diplomacy through partnerships with the Republic of Benin, Haitian cultural and spiritual leadership, New Orleans cultural institutions, global diaspora communities. NOIVD positions Vodou as a legitimate world religion with diplomatic presence and cultural power. And we continue to invite your support, participation, visitation, promotion of these events, donations, sponsorship of this powerful legacy and expanding international endeavor. Please continue to visit us for connection and more information about participating, volunteering, supporting our symposium, our Afroecology exhibit, our art exhibition at Xavier University on Saturday, May 23rd, and our sacred procession from the river to Congo Square on NOIVD Day, Sunday, May 24th. We're also thankful for your continued support and participation on all social media platforms. And for those who participate and support this podcast live in chat and always in archive at your leisure and convenience. And do join us now live on platform with your mic and camera or a photo by way of the QR code in the upper left corner of your screen, or the scrolling URL placed at the upper or lower portion of your screen. Visit our website, vodouday.org, VODOUDAY. Our NOVD QR code is in the bottom right corner of your screen. And again, tonight we are going to attempt to complete this particular topic, decolonization, then and now, before moving on to a different, fresh subject matter come Monday morning. But again, we're always thankful for those who show up and support us here live in chat. Thank you so much to our beloved community member on the ground as well as here in the virtual spaces, Daniel Neal. We certainly appreciate you. Our beloved house member and brother, Jeff Austin, initiated member of La Source. We certainly do appreciate you. Apostle Hudson, a faithful community member, participant here on platform, and we certainly look forward to meeting you come May 23rd and 24th in Congo Square. And our beloved Oracle Treehouse, greetings and salutations to you and yours, beloved. We certainly appreciate your continued support and participation. And again, to those who are listening, participating by way of our various Facebook pages, profiles, and groups, we certainly thank you. Our regional, local, national, and international listenership and participation by way of LinkedIn. We're certainly thankful for you. YouTube, Twitter X, and always IG, Instagram. Thank you so much for your continued support, love, participation, and participation in the GoFundMe. We certainly do appreciate that. So before I unmute my beloved co-host, the Queen Mother, Sister Tony Val Martinez, community mother, community activist, resource person, certainly, and a community agitator, we will be unmuting you momentarily. And our beloved sister Bianca Johnson Plessy, initiated member of La Source, committed team member, co-administrator of NOIVD. We will be unmuting you momentarily. And so tonight, as we attempt to move on from this present subject matter, decolonizing, then and now, from Ouidah to New Orleans, people of power, people of spirit, people of the drum and the crossroads. If you can hear me, if your ancestors can hear me, let me hear you shout fire. Because again, tonight, we are not whispering, we are not negotiating, we are not tiptoeing around anybody's comfort. Tonight, we are stepping into a full blaze ancestral revival. Tonight, we're talking about decolonizing, not gently, not academically, not politely, but with fire in the bones and thunder in the voice. Before the Black church taught us survival, before the Catholic Church sprinkled water on our heads that tried to drown our spirits, before Islam gave us discipline, but sometimes asked us to forget the mother, before Western thought told us our gods were demons, we had power, we had altars, we had ancestors, we had medicine, we had the drum, the crossroads, we had the motherland. So let me take you back to Ouidah, Benin, back to the red earth that remembers every footstep, back to the shrines that still breathe, back to the serpent spirits that still guard, back to the waters that carried our people away but could not wash away their gods. Millions walked through the door of no return, but they carried their spirits in their hair, in their blood, in their bones, in their dreams. And everywhere they landed, the spirits landed too. In Haiti, they rose in revolution. In Cuba, they danced and massed behind the saints. In Brazil, they thundered in the drums. In the Caribbean, they whispered through the herbs. In Central and South America, they hid in plain sight. And here in New Orleans, they said, "We home, we home." So let me preach this part loudly. The Black church gave us refuge, but it also taught many of us to fear our own grandmother's prayers. The Catholic Church gave us saints, but it burned our altars. Islam gave us dignity, yes, but sometimes at the cost of the feminine, the ancestral, the earth rooted. And Western thought tried to convince us that our ways were primitive, backwards, demonic. But hear me, there's nothing primitive about our people, there's nothing backward about our people. There's nothing superstitious about our people, our practice, or our traditions. Decolonizing does not mean disrespecting the church. It does not mean rejecting Islam. Oh my goodness, please forgive me, y'all. My computer just did a little blink right in the middle of my monologue. So just give me a second. This decolonizing does not mean forgetting. It means breaking the spell. It means lifting the veil. It means remembering who we were before the world told us who to be. It means reclaiming our altars, our spirits, our medicines, our cosmologies, our languages, our rituals, and our birthright. It means, again, who benefits when we fear our own ancestors. It means asking who profits when we abandon our own power. It means asking who gains when we disconnect from the spirits who walked with us through fire. So our ancestors practiced in secret because secrecy was survival. But now we're not in the era of survival anymore. We're in the era of sovereignty. And this is the time to stand tall, to reclaim the drum, to reclaim the crossroads, to reclaim the spirits, to reclaim the motherland inside ourselves. This is the time to stop shrinking our traditions to fit inside Western comfort. This is the time to stop apologizing for being who we are. This is the time to stop asking permission to practice what our ancestors died to preserve. And so we stand here tonight and I believe maybe 27, 28 days from New Orleans International Vodou Day here in the beautiful, enchanted city of New Orleans, the cities where ancestors walk in broad daylight, a city where Congo Square still drums, where the river still remembers, where the spirits walk in the architecture, the music, the food, the people, the rhythm in the streets. New Orleans is a portal, is a crossroads, is a living, breathing altar. And NOIVD, New Orleans International Vodou Day, is not just an event. It is a homecoming, a reclamation, a revival of the old ways, a revival of the true ways, a revival of ways that survive the ships, the chains, the whips, the laws, the lies, the shame, and the silence. So, as my beloved panelists, my beloved co hosts, unmute and come on in. Again, tonight, talk about decolonizing our spiritual frameworks, healing from religious trauma, honoring church and religion without erasing the motherland, recognizing the crossroads of ethnocultural practice and tradition that meet here in the city of New Orleans, reclaiming Vodou, voodoo, hoodoo, rootwork, Santeria, conjure, and all ATRs as living sovereign traditions. We step into the fullness of who we are. We return not to the past, but to the truth. And tonight, we open the door that was once called the door of no return. And we walk back through it with our heads high, our spirits strong, and our ancestors at our side. Because the ancestors are not waiting, they're already here. And they are saying it is time It is time. It is time. Bobo and Ashe, thank you so much for your patience. Greetings and salutations, beloved. How you all doing this evening, and what say you?
Good evening out there, everyone.
Good evening, everyone, panel, Sister Bianca, Divine Prince, and all the listening audience. Whenever I think about decolonization, I always revert back to Cuba because that occurred in my lifetime, in our lifetime. And one of the things in the decolonization that Castro attempted to do was he made racism illegal. Everybody knew that was his plan. It was no secret. That's why you had so many run out when the revolution actually occurred. And what we call, or what they call themselves, the so-called white Cubans left Cuba. And anyone who stayed, they dares not say anything racist or they would end up in jail. If it was reported and they were found guilty. And to a lot of people that might be extreme, but decolonization is gonna have to be extreme. You see all the Cubans in Florida that's calling to go back to Cuba and talking about Castro. It was because they were racist. Cuba had Jim Crow at the same time that the United States had Jim Crow. Castro's motto was one Cuba for all Cubans. No more segregated beaches, no more segregated hotels, no more segregation, period. And rather than live like that, they left. And they still trying to get back. And he took the property that they left because they abandoned it and gave it to the dark-skinned Cubans who they had pushed into a lot of areas of poverty. And just let them take over. He even took his own family's plantation and divided it amongst the people and the families that had worked it for generations. He gave them their 40 acres and a mule. He divided his family home. That's why his family was against them, because Castro was considered what you would call a white Cuban. And I can't never see something like that happening in the United States. But I think that's the only thing that could change things in this country is a revolution.
It also sounds, to some degree, similar to Haiti in that they fought back, they pushed back, and certainly they won successfully, but they've been paying for it ever since. So
Yes, it
certainly the
is.
embargoes against Cuba, the forced restricted living in Cuba has everything to do with retribution.
Yes, the United States taxes Cuba for their revolution very hard. Very hard. I mean, my husband could only send $100 a month to his mother, no more, through Western Union, and he could only send it to his mother. He couldn't send his sister $100. He couldn't send his auntie, his brother, and his mother. He could only send one relative either $300 for 3 months or $100 a month, until we found this Canadian company that you could send money through and they delivered it to their door, and they could deliver them appliances and stuff. All the problems that Haiti and Cuba have is because of the United States. Other countries do business with them quite freely. If you are a doctor in Haiti, you can't, and in Cuba, you can't come to the United States and be a doctor. unless you go to the United States medical schools. But Cuba offers anyone that wants to go to medical school for free from the United States to come there, and they can go for free. Cuba offered assistance during Katrina with their doctors, and especially their eye doctors, to replace any glasses or anything that people lost during Katrina, and the United States turned them down. So, I mean, in short of a
So
revolution,
indeed, another roadblock to the process of deconstruction and decolonizing, particularly in mass, might be this fear of retribution, this fear of struggle. And as we look at what we're faced right now as a nation, man, it's a very slippery slope, between things being sort of okay in America today and where we could literally be in a matter of hours or overnight under certain catastrophic circumstances here, in the country. So
yes,
it's a lot, that sort of impedes, hinders, coerces people off the path of decolonizing, deconstructing, and certainly religion is just one layer. Politics, survival, income, particularly when we look at history of Cuba and Haiti.
somebody brought up last night the problems we have within our own Black community with the colorism and the caste.
Bianca, are you there? I don't know. We may have lost Bianca.
I'm here.
We can't
What's
hear.
your
Can you hear
opinion?
me?
Yeah, we hear you. What's your opinion?
Good evening, everyone out there tonight. I definitely want to say that some of the knowledge and stuff that you guys are sharing, like the history of it, because of course, with me being younger, I am learning a lot because of a lot of history that y'all explaining and sharing that goes way far back. And when we're talking about like the changes that we are seeing, as far as me, when I'm seeing different changes, I just remember that when I used to go to the nail shops, I never could understand this. But when I used to go to nail shops, and like the Asians and Vietnamese and all that stuff, they always had their altars. When we talk about like altars and stuff, breaking out of that shell. When I used to always go to these nail shops or their restaurants, a lot of them do have their altars out, like in the front. They have their incense burning. They have fruits, plants, and everything. But a lot of us, when we went to these places, some of them never like. Some of them probably did question it, but a lot of us didn't look at that weird. Like we didn't look at that like that's not normal. Like a lot of us would look at, oh, that's nice, and we would sit down and eat, or we would get our nails done. It never really bothered us. But if it came down to our culture, if we was just to put up our altars in the business or in the restaurant or anywhere out in the open, people would probably come in and look at it as that's bad, that's evil. What is that? Why would they have that? What is their purpose? Because a lot of things has been looked down on that. But I have noticed that now we are starting to see that, like when you go to visit the Voodoo Temple by Sister Miriam, or if you go and visit the Healing Center and other different places, you are able to go in there and see some of these altars or a lot of statues and places that people do put there. And it's like a learning thing. So people are starting to come out and be acceptance to it, but there are still some negative views to it. But I am seeing that a lot of people are starting to transition to understanding and acceptance and kind of coming out in the open to see and understand. But I do feel like that there is still a struggle as far as us trying to be open to altars and things like that, versus if we was to go to the nail shop or the restaurant and see that as a norm to them. What are you guys' opinion on that?
Well, my daughter has a nail shop and she has an altar in her nail shop, but her altar is more dedicated to Buddha with the Buddha head and the
Uh-huh.
incense and stuff. And
Mm-hmm.
her clients question why she have that. And she tell them because it's my heritage. It's in my
Mm-hmm.
DNA. But they question her about why she have the Buddha head and the stuff she have on her altar. And I had asked, I said, suppose you put up a voodoo altar now. She said, she deal with a younger clientele and she can school them. She said, I just might put one on that next shelf so that she can educate them when they come in there and want to know why that's up there. And then she show them her tattoos, which are temples and stuff from Chinese temples and stuff, because her great grandmother was Chinese and her great grandmother's husband was black on her father's side. So she tends to lean more toward that culture. That's what's in her spirit. But she loved her root work too.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's like Ty said, we on a slippery slope. We on a slippery slope on a banana peel.
Mm-hmm.
Because every morning I wake up full of anxiety turning on the news to see what I missed and those few hours that I was asleep, because stuff is happening so fast
Mm-hmm.
with no kind of stops, no guidance, no nothing, just do, 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 do. And it's really scary, the stuff that's going on out here that we have to, pay attention to. But somebody last night had brought up about the colorism amongst our people, and that's a great hindrance to us. I experienced it as a child where I was bullied because I was light skinned. And I was and had long hair. I was terribly bullied until I started outgrowing everybody in my class. And they got scared after, a couple of incidents of putting people in garbage cans. But
And that's weird that you say that, because Norma is always like the dark skin, like the darker complexions that
the
get
dark,
bullied.
I grew up in the lower ninth ward.
Mm-hmm.
You could go on the bridge once you cross over and describe me to anybody, and they could tell them exactly where I lived, because it was so few of us in that area that were light skinned. So I mean, I just heard all the songs and everything, and not even just from strangers, a lot of our own people, with that brown paper bag test. And one of the things too that happened with the Cubans in that went to Florida, eventually a dark-skinned child was born in, because that's in their DNA. And even in families darker, in our Creole families, darker family members were treated different, and they were encouraged to not marry someone who was darker than a brown paper bag. We
I,
have a lot of colorism problems in the South.
I
There was
also think too,
Mhm.
forgive me, Sister Tony, back to Bianca's original sort of question about, going into these establishments and seeing these shrines and these altars. There's an attempt to certainly be American and become American and sort of fit in, into the Western society, but they still have a desire to hold on to their ethno cultural practices and traditions. So when you look at us in our community, and particularly now with this new blagger energy in our community, where Black people are beginning to assimilate and take on very white supremacist, MAGA like thinking structures. And so we're now seeing negative talk about other ethnic groups, about Africans, about Caribbeans, about West Indians, that just did not exist in the 60s and the 70s. During the Black Power days, during the soul era, where we were all wearing dashikis and afros and afro picks and had many of the wood, carvings and masks on our walls that me and Sister Tony still have on our walls. But you might say it was a trend. You might say it was fatting, but the overall mind think of that time, that day, was about unification of all Black people and people of color, really, across the world. So there's a whole new dynamic to the shadeism and the colorism and the classism that we're now having to, deconstruct from and weed through today, and particularly in a younger demographic. I might say perhaps the generation beneath or younger than Bianca tend to be much more aligned. But there are people our age, Tony, that are, falling for this FBA nonsense and are taking on sort of the xenophobic uh, qualities that we once sort of isolated to another region of the world.
Yes, so very true. And the United States government doesn't only do that to Black people. By me being in security, I work nights with a lot of Vietnamese cleaning crew. And I made friends with some of them, and one had a newborn child. Well, he wasn't newborn at the time. He was learning to talk. And I asked him, I said, "You teaching him Vietnamese?" His parents came over with the boat lift, the Vietnamese coming from Vietnam and everything. And he said, "No," but his grandmother was still alive. His mother still spoke Vietnamese, and he spoke Vietnamese to his mother. And I said, "So you mean to tell me your child would not be able to tell his great grandmother, 'I love you' in Vietnamese where she could understand it?" Because the older people refuse to learn English. And he thought about that real hard. And he said when they came here, they came through Catholic Charities, and Catholic Charities told them, "Don't speak your language, don't eat your foods, don't do this, don't do that." And they also told them to stay away from Black people because they were criminals. Now, he told me this, and that's what this government does to divide us. They spoke to me all night, but when the White House officers came in, they know speaking English. He couldn't tell them nothing. And I would be right along with him. I said, "They don't understand you, but they could speak very well." One of them loved the comedian Martin so much, he named his son Martin. I said, "Now, how that sound, Martin Nguyen? Martin Nguyen." But he named his child Martin. But the government does that to us. And the government had to quickly break up that Black unification from the 70s and the early 80s. That's what I said. They brought in the Jerry Curl and they brought in gangster rap. I mean, look what they did to Arrested Development, the music industry. They shut them down with the positivity. Those guys that sang "Don't Push Me, I'm Close to the Edge," they got rid of all of them
Public
until
Enemy, De
until
La
they.
Soul.
But yeah, I mean, they didn't stay around with the positivity that long. They couldn't stay around. The public, the radios wouldn't play them, and they purposely did that to divide us, just like they have us against Mexicans. And that was never our history with Mexicans. They always talk about the Underground Railroad going north, but the Underground Railroad also had a track that led straight to Mexico. And Mexico refused to turn over runaway enslaved people to the United States. That was part of what that war was about. So They divided us. So many blacks they still got towns that are all black from enslaved people that went there either before or after slavery was so-called over. I mean, you got to look at the leaders, even the ones that we think, a lot of people had a problem with Obama because they seemed to think he was going to do so much for black people. But people got to realize the president is a figurehead. Even though we see Trump doing all this, doing all that, he could not do it if they didn't allow him to do it. Look at all the stuff Obama did try to do and got shut down by Congress, the House and the Senate. Now, whatever Trump do, nobody got nothing to say. They're not even following the Constitution. So you have to look at the government. The only way we have to get out that racist regime in order to even start decolonizing, not just blacks, but all the other islanders that came here. I mean, they got recolonized when they left their homeland. If they was uncolonized, like Haitians, they came here and had to go into certain sets that put them back in colonization in the United States. Now they're going to tell us what we can teach our children. They changing the history books. And parents today don't watch the history books close like our parents did and what they teaching us in school. They don't have time. They working. It's not that many stay-at-home mothers anymore.
How many of y'all read your children's textbooks from cover to cover? So you're clear on what your children are being exposed to.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, my mom used to check everything. She wanted to know what they was teaching me at that school.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was a Catholic school. And then she pointed out what wasn't right, from religion to science to history. The only thing she didn't question was math. That's probably why I ain't good at it. Mm-hmm. Mathematics, that's the only thing she didn't question, because mathematics is universal.
Mm-hmm. And that's when you were saying when we need to check like history books and things that they are teaching our children, because a lot of things has changed, even with like some of the storytellings and shows and movies that we watch, because when we was growing up, anytime you saw like anything on the History Channel that talked about our culture, or documentaries or movies, it was always a European. It was always a European voice that did like our voiceovers, or that wrote our stories or told our stories, and or like history or anything. But now it's like people are starting to, like, our culture is starting to gain control, for our self-identification. Is, instead of relying on the Europeans to impose our story, I see a lot of them starting to tell our stories. Like, if you go on Tubi, even though Tubi channel do be having a lot of sketchy movies, but they do have like a lot of documentaries and stuff that is like, written and told by our people. And then sometimes I like to let the kids watch that, because sometimes they are telling our story. Sometimes it feels good to hear our people tell the story, or read the story and narrate it and write it, versus the Europeans or anybody else that tells our story and write it. And I do know that like on Tubi channel, I happen to run across some of the shows, and probably people already seen it, but they had like a show that's like to serve the God, that was made back in 1982. And they also had like a documentary like Day of the Dead, the celebration of Mexican traditions, religions of the world, 1998, the religions of Matrix, Islam, and the future of the tolerance. So a lot of those things do talk about different cultures and religions and stuff. And I do notice that Tubi and maybe a couple of other apps on Amazon are starting to show a lot more of documentaries and movies, based on a lot of things that people are curious that wasn't shown that much back in the time. Now it's being shown now. And I forgot one of them, but one of them, actress, had made a documentary of Voodoo or something where he went to talk about it. I forgot he played on Amistad. You probably guys know his name, but he did a documentary long time ago, and has been spoken highly about now. So those are things that I have seen a lot have changed when we talking about our kids and our children, making sure that we are guiding them in the direction of showing them and reading what they are looking at and researching and getting these informations and stuff from.
And here's another alarming fact. With AI and digital technology, people are catching rewrites, re-edits, them removing certain lines, certain scenes out of well-established classic films, movies, TV shows. And it's only those of us of a particular age and demographic that are catching these alterations, where they're attempting to change the context, particularly of documented films that cover periods, politics, events that have taken place here over the years.
Yes, and one of the worst things, which I never let my children watch or wear their clothes, Walt Disney. Walt Disney got our kids all messed up. Pocahontas, a total lie. A total lie. They got her looking like a 23-year-old woman, and she was a 12-year-old girl. She got long flowing hair, but it was the custom of the Indian tribe, Native Americans. Her head was shaved because she had not yet reached womanhood yet. They shaved the girls' heads. Disney told so many lies, Tarzan and all of that stuff. And he was a documented racist and anti-Semitic. He was documented in his things. The story of Cinderella, that is a tale from Islam. And he rewrote it. Her name lets you know what color she's supposed to be. Her name is Cinder, which is ash, and ash is black from the fireplace. And her name literally translates into black goddess. The L. They got that all messed up. And our kids just swear by those stories. It's a total re-education. Don't let your kids, my kids couldn't wear that Mickey Mouse and all of that. And those kind of, no, we're girl animals. But we ran out of time once again. And I'll turn it over to the Divine Prince to close us out.
Thank you kindly. It's no wonder they don't understand history. It's no wonder they don't understand the timelines. It's no wonder they don't understand the legacy. And that's why we must keep pushing forward. We must keep doing what we're doing. We must keep staying on the front lines, and particularly as it relates to Vodou, Vodou, and Voodoo. We're certainly thankful and appreciative of your continued support and participation of this platform, this podcast, and our coming third annual International New Orleans Vodou Day. Certainly thankful for those who continue to support us here live in chat, and always those who join us and participate by way of our independent and various Facebook groups, pages, profiles, certainly our LinkedIn pages, our YouTube, Twitter X, and always our Instagram IG. We thank you kindly, Ian Lee, for joining us this evening. All Creations, peace and blessings to you and yours. Kinetic Creations, too, joined us. We certainly do appreciate you. Eon's Photo Service, greetings to you. Eon's Photo Service, Zambia. Charm Girl 77, we certainly appreciate you. Trey F. Carr, we certainly appreciate you. Mad Bull Seminole 107 CG. We certainly appreciate you and yours. Thank you for the support and the participation. Herkimer Zardas, we certainly appreciate you for joining us and participating. And Brown Sugar Baby, Double O, thank you so much for joining us. And we invite you to come again on Monday and Monday through Friday, weeknights, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time on a platform near you, or again by way of our QR code presented in the upper left corner of your screen, or by way of the scrolling URL. Again, all is truly and indeed a blessing. Thank you so much for your participation, your support. Please click like, share, follow, subscribe, and we look forward to your joining us, participating with us, supporting our third annual International New Orleans Voodoo Day. Remembering that all is truly and indeed a blessing if you can just see beyond the veils, for it is all just an illusion and a test, and one of the greatest divine mysteries of this life cycle. Good night, Aibobo, Odabo, and no matter what you do, respect the voodoo.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
In the Xhosa language, we have 3 main clicks. We have the letter Q that we pronounce as. On the letter Q, the tip of your tongue must be against the roof of your mouth, and you just pull down.
Five years ago, maybe 7 years ago, discovered that ancestral memory survives in the blood. Something I've always known, and certainly in Voodoo, we've always sort of acted as if we knew. We didn't say it that way, but we're talking to the dead. We're communicating with the ancestors. I got a whole room of dead people living upstairs and, off my bedroom. So certainly through demonstration, we've always understood that. Big Mama, Big Papa, they don't leave you. They're transitions now into another dimensional space. And I am an avid quantum metaphysical student. And I believe it was Einstein that started developing string theory and said that in order for this to be real, we have to be operating in at least 11 interdimensional spaces at once. Time is only just one of those spaces. So we're all time travelers, and we're all moving back and forth in the past, into the future, based on our awareness, based on our training, and I might even say based on our willingness to some degree. You can be blocked enough, fearful enough to shut down your connection to the spirit realm and just not see and just be in denial of what's happening, or what I call be earthbound, be so grounded that you can't fly at all. You can't operate in the spirit realm at all.
At the beginning of this, maybe I was more skeptical. As the days have gone on, I'm not sure what I think anymore.
I felt that maybe it wouldn't affect me if I personally didn't believe in it.
So, knowing what you know now, would you still get cursed?
I'm seeking out a curse, a hex to put on myself.
A curse could end your life. You're literally begging the devil to knock on your door just to prove to you that God's real.
He could curse you with stupidity, but we think you got that down.
Despite the warnings, I'm investigating the real-world effects of dark magic.
Looks like you have a lot of love and a lot of opportunity. You are going to cause damage to that.
How do you feel after doing this?
Evil.
That must be quite seductive.
That's the power you're calling on. The devil, right? Quite seductive.
I'm going to enter into a pact with Satan.
Señor Satán, Lucifer, presentamos a este hermano. Con tu fuego purifica.
Wyong is pretty much the epicenter of all black magic. People are very scared to even talk about it.
Y'all better not call me at 2 o'clock in the morning talking about this man is dead. I don't want to hear that.
I have this physical feeling that something bad is coming. What have I done?
You're going to have to find faith in this in order to undo it.